Multiple Triad elementary students remain in the hospital after a scary school bus crash in Alamance County yesterday morning.
One parent told us today her child has a broken jaw. Alamance Burlington School says the students have non-life-threatening injuries, but we don't know the full extent of those injuries. The scene was alarming yesterday morning when we learned a bus carrying 18 elementary students crashed off Highway 87 in Graham. 7 of those students went to the hospital and 5 are still there.
The Alamance County Sheriff's Office says a blown tire might have caused the crash. Highway Patrol has charged the bus driver for failure to maintain his lane. Tonight, we're hearing from that bus driver for the first time about what happened from his point of view. WFMY News 2's Hannah Jeffries joins us live from the crash site with an update. Hannah.
Yes, guys, we're hearing from the bus driver, but we're also hearing from the parents of Noah Reid, who is one of the students who is currently still in the hospital with that broken jaw, as you mentioned. His mom, Brandi, says he is in good spirits, but he's still in a lot of pain. Now, we're right here at the crash site off of Highway 87, where you can still see the damage that the bus caused when it crashed into this building, which also caused Noah Reid to break his jaw. Now, his mother sent us these pictures. She says he just started physical therapy this morning, and the bus was on the way to B. Everett Jordan Elementary School when it ran off of Highway 87 and crashed into the building. Don Farrow says he was driving the bus when it happened. He says it all happened out of nowhere. He felt the bus shift before he ran off the road. He says all he could think about was making sure it didn't flip over. He's been so worried about the kids, he says he didn't sleep at all last night.
I've been doing it since 2010, and those kids, I consider they belong to me. And see, every morning, my wife will tell you, I pray every morning that we bring them kids in safe and sound and take them back safe and sound. And the other morning, they proved that, because somebody could have got killed, but it didn't. Just because God had his hands on that bus.
Highway Patrol says the bus went off the road to the right before it hit a culvert and then hit a building. They're still investigating what caused Farrow to crash. Now, Farrow tells me he believes that his back right tire did blow out, and that's what caused him to go to veer off of the road. He says there were also witnesses behind him that saw his back tire blow out as well. Live in Graham, I'm Hannah Jeffries, WFMY News 2.
All right, Hannah, thank you. Meanwhile, in Lexington, 2 more students are being charged in connection to threats that disrupted, canceled, or delayed classes across the school district. The police department says a 15-year-old student at Lexington Senior High School is now being charged with a felony for communicating a threat of mass violence on educational property. They say the charge stems from a threat made on Monday. A 14-year-old Lexington Middle School student is also facing the same charge after an incident on Tuesday. Officials say the student was also charged with a pair of misdemeanors for threatening 2 staff members. Over the last 2 weeks, Lexington City Schools says it's received 6 threats impacting classes. So far, 3 students have been charged.
Someone hit a bicyclist in Greensboro this morning. Police say a man was riding a bike on Fernwood Drive near Battleground in Lawndale when a car hit him. They say he has life-threatening injuries. Investigators say the driver stayed on the scene, but they haven't said whether they'll face any charges. Also in Greensboro this morning, a car hit a teenage girl near Oak Hollow Lane.
That's right. In Greensboro this morning, a car hit a teenager girl near Hollowed Oak Lane. It closed a portion of West Market Street for a while. Guilford County EMS says the girl is in the hospital with serious injuries. Charlotte Hornets forward Miles Bridges is out on bond after turning himself in Lincoln County this morning. Now, Bridges is wanted for an alleged protection order violation, which stems from a domestic violence case last year. According to the Hornets, the 25-year-old was in Washington, D.C. last night with the team for their preseason game. They say he did not play because he's currently serving a 10-game suspension from the NBA in connection to the domestic violence case.
The state just got the green light to expand Medicaid. It received final approval this morning from the federal government to launch expansion on December 1st. Experts say the plan will help more than 600,000 North Carolinians get health care coverage.
Amtrak is gearing up for an expansion of its own. The train service wants to add 12 new routes across North Carolina, but the final decision will come down to the federal government. Amtrak's CEO made a trip to Salisbury to support the decision.
Amtrak CEO arrived by train at the Salisbury station along with officials from the North Carolina Department of Transportation. NCDOT and many local municipalities across the state are hoping the federal government will approve a plan to establish 12 new passenger rail routes. Local mayors say it's a critical need.
It affects economic development, it affects prosperity of the people who ride, because it gives them a different mode of transportation.
The money would come from a bipartisan federal infrastructure bill. Stephen Gardner, the CEO of Amtrak, says other states are also making the same pitch, but admits North Carolina may have an advantage.
Well, we've got a great partnership in North Carolina, and we're going to be a strong partner going forward with the state here to help implement their vision.
If approved, Amtrak passenger service would expand as far west as Asheville and as far east as Wilmington. Existing tracks would then connect with Amtrak's main line in Salisbury. Connections to regional cities like Washington, D.C., Atlanta, New York, and New Orleans would also be possible.
It expands the opportunities for each of those small communities like Kannapolis to have a presence in Washington, Richmond, Raleigh, Greensboro, and all the other locations too.
Former Salisbury Mayor Susan Klutz has been working to expand this passenger rail service for 14 years. But believes this is the best opportunity the state has.
It's critical. We really, really need it for North Carolina. So I'm very hopeful that they'll all be approved and then we'll get this started.
The federal government could approve or deny the entire plan or approve selected routes. A decision is expected by December.
You won't need to wait for Amtrak to expand to take the train to the state fair. The service relaunched today. Through next Sunday, there will be 2 round-trip trains every day. Amtrak says passengers can buy tickets online using the station code NSF. You can hop on at any stop from Charlotte to Cary. And no doubt the food is one of the big reasons people go to the fair. Christian Morgan recently went to the fair to taste some of the new options. Check out his review of pizza in a cone. Tell me what we got here today.
So we have a beef pizza cone, basil on the top. Basically, all pizza cone is coming from Italy. They are imported from Italy. Using very high quality cheese and sauce. The good thing, you need just only one hand for eating and walking around with the pizza cone. So
Great.
just take a bite.
Great.
It's gonna be...
Can't wait to try it. Thank you. So the cheese pizza cone, right? It's easy. You can eat it with one hand and keep walking. That's why I'm not even sitting down right now. And let's give it a shot. Good high quality dough. Takes a little bit to get down to the toppings though. So if you like bread, you'll love this. If you don't, you might want to peel part of this off. And do it that way. That's good. I could probably eat 2 or 3 of them. Wow,
that looks great. You don't have to taste that to see that. That looks like something very delicious.
It's like a commercial when the cheese comes
Yeah,
apart.
and I trust that man because he had an Italian accent, so you know that
Right.
he's coming from a place where pizza is king, right?
Very well known. Yeah, that looked delicious. So the cheese is inside of the cone,
It's like a
all in
waffle
there.
cone.
Right. So I guess you can get different kinds, supreme, pepperoni,
Yep.
and all that jazz, and take your bite and walk around like an ice cream
love
cone.
that.
Sign me up.
I wonder if it's like an ice cream cone where just like instead of an ice cream, like the grease just comes through the bottom of the cone.
Oh my
you
God,
know,
probably.
Ice cream melts through it.
Right.
Oh my gosh, like that orange pizza grease that comes off of pepperonis, which tastes so good.
It reminds me of like a calzone
Yes.
stromboli type of thing as well too. So
I would do that. I thought of you though when he did the dill pickle donut, and I said Cindy will. Cindy will
never
pass
mind.
on.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely anything with pickles except the what is it?
The
The
fried
deep fried
pickles,
ones.
yes.
I'll pass.
I love that Christian was like, that's some high quality dough.
High quality.
I'm telling you, people, some high quality.
knows.
Well, there's a ton of information out there for the fair, but don't you worry, we have you covered. You can text the word FAIR 336-379-5775 and you'll be sent a complete guide for everything you need to know.
Some High quality dough, people. I love that. I wish we could run all of his together because he sounds like he's on the Food Network. He's like, hints of cinnamon. He took it very seriously. 78 degrees in Greensboro, 81 in High Point and Lexington, Asheboro at 78, and to the south, we're at 83 in Troy. These temperatures are comfortable and way above normal, by the way. That will change. Look at tomorrow as we see an overnight low tonight of 60. That's a mild low because we have the blanket of clouds over us. But tomorrow, it's that morning shower, maybe tapering off in the afternoon. Not a complete washout. If you're doing, I was getting some emails and people saying, can we keep our outdoor plans? Later in the day you go, the better off it'll be. We might even clear up by then, but definitely morning time you'll see some on again, off again showers. And we're not seeing anything in that way right now. It's moving in little by little. There's the front back to the west, and we'll watch that as it gets closer. And even though we'll see the mild temperatures for today, that cold front will do a number on us when it moves through. That'll drop temperatures fairly quickly too as we head into the next several days. Look at the 7-day, 66 for your Saturday and even 60 on Sunday, and gradual clearing, but look for some rain on your Saturday morning. So a triad college is making a difference when it comes to women in health leadership roles. Salem College is holding its Health Leadership Forum. That is next weekend, October 20th. The event features a two panel discussions, I should say, of current trends in the health-related fields, as well as a keynote speaker that they're bringing in. They will also host a Q&A session for everyone in attendance, and this can just not be students, it can be professionals as well. Anybody's welcome. Salem College President Summer McGee says women in healthcare has been one of their focuses for a while.
Salem decided to become the nation's only liberal arts college focused on health leadership because we see a real need in our society to prepare that next generation of women leaders who will care deeply about the issues related to health that impact us all, that impact us across our society. So we will prepare students with the critical thinking skills, the knowledge, the ability to collaborate, the teamwork skills to be able to make change and make an impact to make communities healthier and stronger.
Now, McGee says the term health leadership is way broader than what most people think, which is just like presidents of hospitals.
Our definition of health leadership is incredibly broad and can include a wide variety of careers and paths and opportunities. And that's really what this forum is meant to share and explain, to give folks a sense of all of the different pathways that one can pursue. When you graduate with knowledge and skills related to health, there's an unlimited number of things that our students can go on and do, working in the nonprofit sector, working in health-related communication, public health, of course, working in the healthcare sector, or becoming a clinician, but there's really such a wide array of things that students can do after receiving their education at Salem.
Wow, what an incredible opportunity for those women and folks to be able to ask questions that they need and gain perspective from so many people across the world as well too. Is pretty awesome.
They're bringing in experts from all over the world, literally, and the Q&A session, I think what you said is so key because, and this, by the way, it's not just for students of Salem College. Anybody can go, and it's free.
Gotcha. Okay.
You do have to register, so if you have an interest in the healthcare field, this is not. This is probably a thing you need to go to.
I mean, think about the challenges of being in healthcare leadership right now. I mean, it takes someone who is very strong-willed, talented, smart,
organized.
because of since the pandemic, right? I mean, think about all of the things that have changed since the pandemic started. So I mean, this is great. I love it.
By the way, and there'll never not be a need for healthcare, right?
Yep.
Jobs all over the place.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. I'll leave it there.
Just like that. All right, we're coming right back. We have some big changes coming up in your forecast, from some low 80s in the southern Piedmont now going to only highs in the 60s for us through the weekend. In fact, Sunday's high is even 60, which means it could be one of the coolest days we've seen in a while. 78 degrees in the Triad right now, at least at the airport in Greensboro, 80 in Raleigh, 78 Fayetteville and Charlotte. Myrtle Beach is a cooler 73 degrees right now. Forecast planner for your Saturday shows some shower activity first half of the day. Rain chances tend to taper off as we get into the afternoon, but it's a good 60% 50% or so for the morning hours, and this is starting at about 5 a.m., so overnight rain as well. With those clouds, that partial eclipse that we've been talking about might be nip and tuck there. You may want to head west if you really want to do this, to the western half of the state to really get and into the mountains to get a decent view of that, because this cloud cover and rain will be moving in on Saturday and overnight, really tonight late. There's the cold front. You can see it. It stretches from the lows all the way up to the Great Lakes, and that will be moving on east and dragging that cold front with it. Again, we think it's kind of on again, off again showers for the first part of the day on Saturday, and then tapering off as we head into the evening. But notice that cold front, that's about 6 o'clock tomorrow and p.m., and that will usher in that cooler air, and those temperatures are going to be much cooler than they have been for the last couple of days, actually. Here's your 7-day forecast with 66 degrees on your Saturday, and that's a 60% chance of morning showers, hopefully tapering off later in the day. Sunday might be a little bit breezy, but a cooler high of 60. Look at the lows going down to 43 for Tuesday morning, which means our mountains will see some upper 30s, and we'll gradually warm back up. 61 on Tuesday, all sunshine, by the way, Tuesday through Friday of next week, and we build back to the upper 60s.
Whether you want a pumpkin to carve or decorate your front porch, or how about just get those seeds, one church in New Bern has just what you need. Now you're probably wondering, why would I drive to New Bern for a pumpkin? You'll also be supporting a good cause.
It's an annual tradition. New Bern residents make their way to the pumpkin patch. Christ Church has thousands of pumpkins just waiting to be picked.
We have currently 1,800 large pumpkins plus about 2,000 small pumpkins, all delivered on the 28th of September.
The pumpkins come from New Mexico, grown by Pumpkins USA and members of the Navajo Nation. Part of the funds raised will support local charities.
Already on October 10th today, we are already at over $10,000, so we're way ahead of the game. Last year, we donated to 11 different charities around the New Bern area, and it's a wonderful thing that everyone benefits from.
Families love the pumpkins.
We're just out here to pick some nice pumpkins. You know, it's the start of the season, so it's not super busy yet, and we came here to get the best pumpkins.
Coming back year after year.
We used to come when he was a lot littler, and we decided that since he was here on fall break from NC State University, we thought, well, we'll just come and get some pumpkins together while he's home.
And for the unsold pumpkins, well, there's a plan for them too.
We have a wonderful gentleman from a local farm that comes and picks up our pumpkins that didn't quite make it. So his animals benefit as well.
Spooky season is upon us. Halloween just 18 days away, but today may be scary enough. Don't walk under any ladders, spill any salt, because you know what day it is. It's Friday the 13th. Today is supposed to be one of the most unlucky days of the year, but do you know how it all started?
Today, people will avoid getting married, traveling, and even working because it's supposed to be unlucky. So why did people become so afraid of Friday the 13th? Let's connect the dots. The number 13 has a long history of being the odd one out. Historians aren't 100% sure when this all started. They think it might be from when the calendar was created. 12 just worked out so well that an oddball prime number following it just seemed out of place. And Fridays have supposedly been unlucky since biblical times. It's supposed to be the day of the week that Jesus was crucified. So when the two collide, a lot of people think it's a recipe for disaster, which is just bad news since any month that starts on a Sunday will have a Friday the 13th. And that's connecting the dots.
Gosh.
I've never really put any stock in that.
Are you guys big into the I'm not either, the superstition.
Now, there's one thing I do, and Lauren Coleman and I were talking about this the other day, and it is superstitious, but I don't know why I do it because I don't believe it causes bad luck. But if you're walking with a friend, it's a great song. If you're walking with a friend and there's a pole, if you let the pole go between you, they say that breaks even a couple, like your relationship, will, unless you say bread and butter.
It's so interesting how natural that is, though, to not splitting the pole. Is that what you're talking
yeah,
about?
Don't go on either side.
That is just like a natural thing I feel like people do. When I see my friend about to go one way, I just follow
Go
her.
with
Yeah,
them, yes.
follow her into the other
I remember
side.
when we were kids, like the two big things that we always do, you have to hold your breath when you're driving past a cemetery.
Yes, I remember
so hopefully
that.
it's not a big cemetery because
Okay.
you're going to pass out. And then the other one, if you're driving over railroad tracks, you have to lift your feet up.
Oh, I don't know that
strange.
one.
What about the step on your crack, break your mother's
back?
back?
Yes.
My mom's like, watch out for that.
That's
Watch out for
right.
that crack.
Don't do that to mama.
Right.
Not nice. All right, speaking of the spooky season here, we posted this question on Facebook and we got over 100 responses in a short amount of time. If somebody paid you $1 million, but you have to survive the night with one famous horror movie slasher, and you have to choose one of these four, which one are you choosing? It's Chucky, Freddy, Michael Voorhees, or Jason Voorhees, or Michael Myers.
Who I have to spend the night with or stay with?
You have to survive a night with one of them.
survive with them, okay.
Who would it be? I said Chucky just because he's smaller, and I was thinking maybe I could boot him, if he got too close.
I was gonna say Chucky too. That's the only person
He's
I would.
scary,
But he's
though.
scary too.
I'd probably pick Michael Myers. I hate the Chucky movies. Like they freak me out. I don't want to be anywhere near that thing.
Why Michael Myers?
I think he's the worst one. Well, no, Freddy Krueger.
He's the one that walks through. Oh, Freddy Krueger's the worst.
You can't
one.
go to sleep if you spend the night with him.
And he comes in real life if you
That's
stay
right.
awake, either or.
I mean, just don't go up the stairs with Michael Myers. Just run down the road and you'll be fine.
Well, he's so slow.
He's not going to get you.
He's so slow. Just run around the house constantly.
I read this post where they said, I know that town is tired of Michael Myers because he comes back every year.
Every
Just
time.
like, will you ever die?
Just run away. Don't run up the stairs.
Let us know what you
Michael
think on
Myers.
Facebook. We'll be right back.
Mic check. Mic check. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Hi, it's just going to be me talking about Davie County and West Forsyth coming up.
Let's go. Mic check. Jalen. I was waiting on y'all. Y'all wouldn't let me second. I ain't like that. Anyway, I'll give it a pass because she's more important to me.
Well, welcome to your 4 to 5. It's Friday. Deserves a round of applause.
Oh yeah. Oh, she hasn't introduced me yet.
Oh, that's right.
Sydney, Chad.
I got tricked.
It's Friday,
haven't
guys.
seen
So
me in a
you
while.
just everybody is everybody. Eric and Chad, exactly. That's my excuse.
I did it. I did it with you.
Well, welcome to your 4 to 5. We got a lot to talk about, but we're going to talk about sports with Panthers on air taking on the Dolphins to Friday Football Fever. So let's get right to it. Amanda Ferguson, who is live at the Game of the Week.
Hey everybody, we are getting ready for our Friday Football Fever Game of the Week. Davie County hosting West Forsyth tonight. Now both of these teams are 5-2 on the season, both of them actually coming off a loss. So you know they really want to win this game, and somebody is going to have another loss on their record. It just matters whoever plays the hardest. Now both of these teams are preparing for this game. We will see them on the field later, coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. But this game here, Davie County and West Forsyth, getting underway here at 7 p.m. We will take you to all of the action coming up on WFMI News 2 at 11. We'll also take you to a bunch of other teams and matchups throughout the triad.
Amanda, thanks. At the pro level, the Carolina Panthers are trying to secure their first win of the season. They are painfully 0-5, and their game this weekend will not be an easy one. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey has a preview this afternoon.
And to say the Panthers have struggled out the gate so far in 2023 is probably an understatement, as they're still looking for their first win of the year, and it's sure to be an uphill battle because Carolina is headed down to Miami to take on the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, in a Dolphins team that's averaging right at 36 points per game, which is number 1 in the NFL. And to make matters worse for Carolina, the Panthers have already ruled out 4 starters for Sunday. Running back Miles Sanders is out with a shoulder. The defensive secondary took a couple hits, and they'll be without safeties Xavier Woods as well as Von Bell. And the offensive line will be without guard Chandler Zavala, who suffered that neck injury last Sunday in Detroit. So now it's up to head coach Frank Reich and the guys to figure out a way to bring home the win without some of the big names.
We tell our guys at the beginning of the year, when you make your roster after training camp, and then there's the 16 practice squad guys, and you always had this speech that, hey, there is no distinction, and in one respect, there's no distinction between practice squad and the roster because everybody's going to play. And this is just case in point. This happens with regularity, not only on our team, but other teams. So just a mentality that you don't flinch. You got confidence in your guys, and you just get ready to play.
And the only place you can catch the Panthers down in Miami is right here on WFMY News 2. Kickoff on Sunday is set for 1 p.m.
Jalen, thank you. Sticking with the NFL, Chad, you couldn't stay away from the camera while on your time off. Our coworker Brad just happened to be up last Sunday morning and saw you in the stands at the Buffalo Bills-Jacksonville Jaguars game in London. So how was that experience? Did you expect for that to happen?
Absolutely. I mean, the stadium has like 60,000 people in it, you know? And so it was like a minute after that touchdown happened, I got an alert on my watch. I looked at it. It said, I just saw you on TV. And I'm like, what? And then my phone blew up.
Yeah.
People calling, texting, some of you viewers sending me direct messages saying, we saw you on TV. I mean, it was a crazy experience.
Yeah, you look like you had the time of your life out there.
I was living my best life. 2 of our bosses reached out. They're like, we were wondering if you were having fun, but it's clear you are.
And you came back to a nice surprise on your desk, too.
Yes,
Please share that.
One of our producers, Tom, printed out a screenshot of me. That picture right there, just doing that. It's just sitting on my desk. So
It was great. I told my wife, I said, only Chad can go to Europe and still be on television in the triad somehow.
I said to my GM today, I said, is that a breach of my contract because I was on another TV
network
channel? He's like, yeah, you're fine.
We're glad you had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're glad you're back.
Good to be back.
Let's talk about that weather.
Let's do it. We got big changes coming up in the next 24 hours or so. You'll see temperatures really start to drop. So from today, we've had some 80s, some low 80s in the southern Piedmont. Right now at the airport in Greensboro, where our official records are kept, 78 degrees. We go to 80 if you head down toward Raleigh. It's cooler though to the south. Actually unusual that Myrtle Beach is cooler than we are at 73 degrees. Your planner for tomorrow, it's rain for the first half of the day and really overnight tonight. We'll see those showers. They could be heavy at times. Again, the rain chances chances, probably about a 60% chance for the first half of the day. And we're thinking by afternoon that really starts to taper down a little bit. And it looks way better as we head into Sunday. We'll clear out, but we're going to start cooling down as well. You can see the front here on the radar as we go out to a wider shot. There's the low pressure up around the Great Lakes, and then that cold front trails down to the south. Here's what our 7-day forecast looks like. 66 on Saturday, again on again off again showers for the first part of the day. We go to 60 on Sunday, a little breezy, and we'll clear out with the coldest day being Monday with a high of 58 degrees.
Eric, thank you. Palestinians in northern Gaza have been given hours to leave the region after Israel told around 1 million people there to move south where border crossings remain closed.
It's a sign that a ground invasion could be coming soon in response to Hamas's deadly attacks. It comes as security here in the U.S. is also beefing up.
As Israeli forces continue to attack Hamas targets from the air, Palestinians in and around Gaza City are fleeing ahead of a possible ground invasion.
This will be my last video. Everybody from Gaza is moving.
This resident spoke of being displaced like his grandfather during the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. On Friday, Israel told more than 1 million people to leave northern Gaza after Hamas attacked dozens of targets in southern Israel. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin traveled to Israel and met with the nation's prime minister.
America's support for Israel is ironclad.
In Qatar, Secretary of State Antony Blinken called for calm.
We continue to discuss with Israel the importance of taking every possible precaution to avoid harming civilians.
Here in Washington, President Biden held a phone call that lasted over an hour with relatives of Americans who still remain unaccounted for. It comes as the former head of Hamas called for a global day of outrage. Despite security fears, demonstrations have been taking place in support of Israel nationwide.
We are here to stand with the state of Israel.
And in support of Palestinians.
We are here to stand in solidarity with the Palestinian people and say enough is enough.
Extra measures are being taken in places like New York City and other cities to ensure the public's safety as the conflict overseas rages on.
The U.S. State Department says it's arranging evacuation flights to get Americans out of Israel. The agency says at least 20,000 Americans have reached out since the attacks.
Let's take a look at some of our headlines. The race for the House Speaker continues as Steve Scalise has now dropped from the House Speaker nomination after failing to secure the needed votes. In a closed-door meeting late last night, he told GOP colleagues of his decision. Scalise narrowly defeated Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan during a secret ballot vote on Wednesday. A day later, however, House Republicans remained divided even after Jordan urged members to unite behind Scalise on Thursday. He would have needed 217 votes to reach a majority.
New data from the CDC is giving us a glimpse into last year's flu season. Data shows the flu hit children and teenagers particularly hard. Researchers say fewer children are getting flu shots compared to previous years. Doctors recommend everyone get a flu shot by the end of this month. We'll be right back. Health experts say it is rare to survive what's called a widow-maker heart attack. A man in Minnesota was at a baseball game when his hit.
Turns out he happened to be at the right place at the right time. Paramedics rushed to his side with an AED to jumpstart his heart.
They may call themselves the Saints.
Say hello to Squealon Musk.
But it's not every day that St. Paul's minor league team
Madonna
actually performs a miracle.
I was just lucky, really lucky.
Rob Warhol
to be around.
Wasn't looking for divine intervention. When he arrived 3 months ago for his usual Friday night ball game.
That's a play. Wow.
He was looking simply to feed his lifelong passion.
Well, that's the team, 1970 Big Ten champion team.
Minnesota
right there.
Golden Gophers.
That's me.
The pinnacle for a boy from Richfield who grew up
right there
on a diamond.
The fearsome batter.
Scouted to play in the minor leagues, Rob instead traded his uniform for a tie and tux.
Over 50 years we were together.
And Renee.
She died of cancer last September. I really miss her. I really do.
Baseball
there you go.
Helps. And so it was when Rob arrived at the ballpark July 14th.
This is where it happened.
He just picked up his first beer.
Boom, down I went.
Rob and his heart hit the ground unconscious.
They call it the Widowmaker, so it's on my main vein.
Never had he been more in need of a saint.
My name is Diane Bauer, and I've been a paramedic for 45 years.
Diane Bauer was working the game that night for Regions Hospital.
He wasn't breathing. He did not have a heartbeat.
Diane and her team
started doing CPR.
Administered from a defibrillator a single shock to Rob's heart.
The teammate doing CPR said, "I think he's breathing." And I'm like, "Really?" And then he started moving his arms, and then he started moving his head. And we're like, "Stop CPR." Thank you.
1 month later, back at that same beer stand.
There we go.
Look who's back together.
This is the first time, and
she's my best buddy from now on.
A moment an old baseball player shouldn't steal.
It's all on you.
For himself.
That's all on me.
We now call your attention down towards the first base line.
Rob and his rescuers elbow to elbow.
Tonight, we honor them for saving Rob's life.
And for the first time in decades, a baseball back in his hands.
Who are you throwing it to?
Well, I don't know. Only about 40 feet I got in me nowadays. So.
Rob is here to throw out a ceremonial first pitch.
Rob wasn't exactly thrilled.
Good catch.
With his fastball.
All right. You can play third base anytime.
But how, at this ballpark, can a man of faith not see saints at work?
I wouldn't have been here. If I would have been at my apartment, I'd be dead. And if I would have been in the parking lot even, I would have been dead. This is where I meant to be, maybe.
Rob Warhol lived his life for baseball. Then baseball saved his life. Boyd Hooper, St. Paul.
You know, if he hadn't been at that game, he might have been home. And since his wife has passed away, I mean, he's lucky he was there.
And that's what he said at the end. He said, you know, if I was in the parking lot.
Yes, yes.
He was so close.
I always think of that sometimes when you hear about the stories. If they were in a location where a lot of people, you know, aren't nearby or close, it's scary to think about. But thankfully that he was in that type of environment.
Good for him. Seems like a sweet person. All right, let's talk about our forecast with some changes coming up for colder weather. Yeah, if you want fall, we're going to give it to you, but it may be probably a little cooler than you may want it to be. But right now, look, we're still warm. I mean, 81 in High Point, 81 in Troy. Most people are in the upper 70s, but when you look at the extended forecast, the 7-day, let's give you the entire look here. We've got a few showers. They'll be coming in Saturday for the first half of the day and 66 degrees. After that, it's kind of a breezy, cool Sunday with a high of only 60. And those lows, the coolest lows that we see are Monday and Tuesday morning at 44 and 43, which means if you go to the mountains, you'll be in the 30s for sure. I'm sure Boone will be chilly. 58 on Monday, that is the coldest high temperature of the week. And then we start to warm it up a little bit. Lots of sunshine for Tuesday through Friday of next week. 64 by Wednesday, and we've got some upper 60s for Thursday and Friday.
Before we go, we are taking you back out to Las Vegas, where an eye-popping new landmark is changing the skyline. The band U2 officially opened at the Sphere a couple of weeks ago, but when there isn't a concert, Sphere is also home to an innovative new film. The Oscar-nominated director for Postcard from Earth made it just for the gigantic Sphere. He sat down to talk about the epic movie and the message in it to protect the planet.
You come from a place called Earth.
When you build a $2 billion dome that doubles as a remarkable replica of planet Earth,
a magnificent symphony frozen in time,
it's only fitting that its debut film is a love letter to it.
Every time you come, we see new things all the time.
Director Darren Aronofsky gave us a preview of his Postcard from Earth. It's sci-fi fantasy meets nature documentary. The footage, shot on all 7 continents, is simply stunning.
Each grander than the last.
Brought to life on the largest and highest resolution LED screen in the world.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh my God. I feel like I'm in this opera. It stretches across 160,000 square feet, making IMAX look like an iPhone.
I just don't know where to look. It's so huge.
You forget you're even watching a movie. The immersive experience rattles your seat.
You feel the wind? Yeah.
And air pumped into the theater blows by your face.
What is it like for you as a filmmaker to paint on a canvas that big?
Once you see the size of this thing, 4 football fields in size, it's an amazing feeling to watch it. It's hard to work with because the camera sees everything. So you have to kind of come up with shots that really are about everything.
They also had to come up with a camera big enough to shoot it, named Big Sky. It was moved all around the world and even mounted to a helicopter to capture certain scenes.
People will see things and see nature in a way they've never experienced before. But how do we make it emotional? How do we give it a story?
We pushed further and wider and higher.
That story is largely about how humans came to dominate and then destroy our planet.
That we destroyed what we had loved.
It doesn't explicitly mention climate change, but humans board rocket ships to give Earth time to heal.
we left of our own accord. We turned off the lights.
Are you advocating we become a multiplanetary species, or are you saying let's figure out this planet Earth thing before we have to do that?
I think it's both of those things. Of course, the first priority is to try to take care of our home, but it can maybe paint some possibilities of how we get out of this mess.
The only person standing in your way is you.
The Oscar-nominated director of such films as Black Swan, The Wrestler, and The Whale is no stranger to sometimes complex subject matter.
I'm curious how this is going to land with the audience here in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to have some folks in there with oversized beers, who are taking a break from the craps table.
Right.
This is kind of deep.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think it works on many levels. I'm confident people are going to have a very good experience. If they don't like my movie, the tech in this building is incredible and the screen itself is unbelievable.
Look at the details of the signs. That you can read them. You can read them.
Aronofsky is excited to see what future filmmakers do with this space, and he hopes his film inspires us to remain as in awe of our actual planet as we are by the version we've created.
I think it's very important not to sort of lean into the despair that's out there, but to actually look for solutions. I think the human race is moving towards a solution, and hopefully we'll do it quick enough.
Hello, here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hi, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico.
Test, 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 testing 1, 2, 3. Test, 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 testing 1, 2.
Bernie Prado was just 2 cars behind the school when it ran off the road and into this.
Hey, it's time for my 2 cents, and today I want to talk about my youngest, my 10-year-old daughter, Drew. Drew has always said that she would like to be a chef and own a restaurant one day. She watches all the food competition shows religiously, loves it. So look what happened recently. Thank you to my friend Chris Russell, who owns B. Christopher's Restaurant. He let her come in and go into the kitchen. So here she is getting her apron on, and then he took her in to the back and kind of introduced her to the staff. Of course, every chef has to wash their hands thoroughly when they come in, so she went through that. He even showed her the walk-in freezer, and then it was time to do some prep. So she made this huge shrimp platter. He showed her exactly what to do, and even got a chance to mix some other ingredients so that when she came back out of the kitchen and came to our table where me and my wife and my son Tyler were waiting, she had prepared all the dishes that we ate. It was amazing. She did an incredible job and was so excited. And I guess the bottom line to this is that I love seeing my little girl's face light up, but it's also a notice to all of us that we can mentor and help out a kid, and it will mean so much to them if we just took a little time out of our day. So thank you, Chris, for doing that. We appreciate it. And my daughter, over the moon. So you wait for Drew's restaurant one day, people. That's just my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We are learning new information tonight about a bus crash yesterday in Graham. The school district says 4 elementary students are still in the hospital. Noah Reid is one of them, still recovering. His mom sent us these photos today. She says he has a broken jaw but is in good spirits. Reid's family is one of several whose kids were on